Well, good morning, South Avenue. Here we are again. It's Thursday. How about that? It's also April 23rd, 2020.
What's for lunch? What's for lunch? Anybody know? What's for lunch?
For lunch today, how about homemade pizza? I don't know about you, but I make pizza quite often. I do a little bit easy though. I get pizza dough from the store, and then I roll it out, and then I just top it with whatever delicious things I want to top it with. But Ryan McNally didn't mess around. He and his mom made some pizza, and they made the dough from scratch. And it looks amazing, and we've got some pictures here of the dough and the pizza and the recipe for the dough. So Ryan, I'll tell you what, you have inspired me. I do have a couple of pizza doughs in my freezer, but the next time I make pizza, I will use your recipe and give it a try. Thank you for sending those in. The weather today. Well, the sun is out where I am right now. So even though the sun is, for some reason, shining right now, it looks like it's going to be cloudy today. The temperature not getting up too high. Oh, 51, but it's starting off pretty low. And as we look at the next few days, Friday, rain, high of 50, Saturday, partly cloudy, high of 64. Ooh, that looks great. I'm looking forward to Saturday.
It's your birthday today. It's your birthday today. There's a cat licking your birthday cake. It's your birthday today.
Hey, how about that? We've got some birthdays today. Let me see here. Oh my goodness, it's Wyatt Burgos' birthday. It's also Andrea Delgado's birthday. Happy birthday, you guys. I hope you have a great day. Woohoo! 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 So we have a ton of stuff to get to. First of all, we've got Avery showing off her amazing butterfly picture. Look at that. Look at that smile. That's brightening my day just as much as the picture. Thanks for that, Avery. We've got this picture from Gage, who was inspired by Earth Day to make this earthy. Look, what do we got there? Well, it looks like an alligator in a sort of a pond with the trees around it. Man, you guys are doing some creative stuff. Love this. Ms. Givato sent me this picture of Harrison showing off some of his missing number work. Nice job, Harrison. How about the answers to the trivia? Yes. Okay, the first one was, where is this picture? And the answer, of course, is the Howland Library. It's the book return bin at the Howland Library right on Main Street. And the trivia question was, how many pairs of wings does a bee have? And the answer is 2. 2 pairs. So 4 wings, right? A pair is 2, so 2 pairs, 2 twos would be 4 wings. That's right, bees have 4 wings. Okay, are you ready for today's Where in Beacon picture? Here it is. Where in Beacon was this picture taken? All right, for today's trivia question, we're going with astronomy. You ready? Which planet is the closest to Earth? Which planet is the closest to Earth? That's our trivia question for the day. If you got the where in Beacon and the trivia question from yesterday right, good for you. Nicely done. Okay, Now, yesterday I mentioned going on a field trip. So I did that, and I had some successes and some failures. The failure was that my microscope, although it worked, it was not recording. So that's something I'm going to have to work on. But let me just show you like what the microscope is capable of, because it's really cool. But I think maybe I needed a different, more software loaded onto my computer to make it save the videos. But I can still use it to look at things up close. But I was not able to save the videos that I got on my little field trip. This is the microscope. Where am I there? Oh, there we go. So there's the little lights on there. And if you put it on something, you can, this is just the table, right? And it, focus it. Whoa, look at that. Pretty cool. Or if I put it on this cloth here, you can zoom in and see how the cloth is. Or look, here's a pine needle that was sort of caught in my computer from my little field trip. And that is the pine needle, way up close. So anyway, I think I'm going to try and go back out and find, oh look, here's the crud on my computer. Oh look, there's little bits of stuff. That's why computers are gross. Oh, chunks of something. Wait, here's my wedding ring. Like normally it looks, you know, nice. Well, anyway, if you look up close, I got to turn down the light. Where is it? There's how scratched up it is. Anywho, I'm going to go back out and maybe try and get some microscope images of the egg sacs that I found, the egg masses that I found. But just so you know, I did try and it didn't work. It's all right. I'm persistent.
All right, South Avenue. So we're going to go on our little field trip here to our vernal pool. It's a little chilly, a little windy today, so I'm not sure how it'll work out, but I felt like a little bit of a history lesson was necessary. So a couple hundred years ago, if you wanted to get goods from one part of the country to another, you would have to load those goods onto a wagon that was pulled by horses and went over roads that were not very nice. And that would take weeks, sometimes, to get your goods from one place to another, and it was very expensive. So there was an advance. There was, eventually people started building canals. And they used these canals to ship goods. And the canals actually made it much cheaper to get your goods from one place to another and faster. So in New York City, they needed coal to burn, and Pennsylvania, they mined coal. But getting the coal from Pennsylvania to New York City was a problem, so some folks built a canal where they could load the coal up in Pennsylvania, bring it to the Hudson River in Kingston, and then bring it down the Hudson River. So this was a privately owned canal, but there were canals, if you start to learn about them, all over New York. But anyway, one of these canals went right through my town, High Falls. The sign back there, there's a picture of a river barge being pulled by some horses. There would be a track along the canal, and the horses would pull the barge along the track. And there's lots of evidence of canals around my town. Behind me here is part of the canal that's still left. It's a lock that helped the boats go up and down, sort of like an elevator for boats. And over there's a building that was here when the canal was here, and it was sort of like, you know, a rest stop on the thruway. So if you're on the thruway and you're driving around and you need to stop and get some food, you go to the rest stop. Well, that was a canal house where they, you know, sold food, maybe had rooms, or people could stop and get some food if they were traveling on the canal. This part of the canal is kind of interesting, though, because right behind you, if I turn this around, they had a very difficult engineering challenge over here because a canal is basically a man-made river, right? Well, this man-made river had to cross a real river. So they had to build a bridge for the canal. And that kind of bridge is called an aqueduct. So the canal was carried over the river in an aqueduct, and if we go down to the river, we can see some of the remains of the aqueduct. So here's the river, and if you look carefully, on both sides of the river are the abutments that connected, that the aqueduct was held up by. I'll just give you a little closer look there. So if you can imagine a bridge going across the river right there that was carrying a canal. Okay, Mr. Burke, I thought we were going to a vernal pool. Why are we talking about canals? Well, because the same way that canals were replacements for wagons to a degree, right? Wagons, there were wagons, right? And then the canal came along, and they were cheaper and faster, and so they took over. But guess what? The canals got replaced. What replaced canals? Railroads. That's right, railroads came along, and people could move goods faster and cheaper using railroads. So people started building railroads, and the canals were abandoned. Now, you can imagine how this story goes. Railroads suffered the same fate, largely. That means along came cars and trucks and planes, and people were able to move goods faster and sometimes cheaper. Although there's still lots of goods that move around the country using trains, a lot of railroads were abandoned. And people have decided to use those old railroads as parks, as rail trails for recreation. So these railroads were left abandoned, and somebody had the bright idea to turn it into a nice long park. So I know that's a really long intro, but let's go find this vernal pool. It's along the rail trail. Alright, here we are. So this pool, right now there's a lot of water in it, but during the dry season, in the middle of the summer, it can just about disappear. So that would make it a vernal pool. It doesn't stay around all year long. On the other side of the rail trail, there's a little stream that usually has at least a little bit of water running through it. But over here, this can dry up completely. So I'm going to put my boots on. Brought my little boots here, and hopefully tragedy doesn't strike. Okay, so I got my laptop here. Why do I have my laptop next to the vernal pool? Doesn't sound like a smart idea, right? Right, but I have a little microscope that attaches to the laptop, and I'm thinking if we find something interesting, maybe we can check it out with the microscope. We'll see. I don't know. Water and laptops don't mix, but we'll give it a go. Alright, so I don't know if we can see them here, but I see a little mass of eggs in there, and I'm gonna go investigate. Now normally I certainly do not want to disturb any amphibians, right? We want to protect the amphibians. They're an important part of the ecosystem. But in the name of education and science, I'm going to take a look and maybe get a closer look. Okay? There's a lot of this like grody seaweed stuff. Look at that. Maybe we should check that out under the microscope. We'll give that a look. Let's see. I see a couple of these egg masses. I'm going to bring you over there. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so we've got a few of them. Here's one right here. It's kind of nestled in the, oh God. Wow, it's gross. Look at that. That is cool. What is it? I think maybe we can try and check out the microscope. There's another one over there. Okay, now over here, there's another one, but this one looks different than the one I just showed you. Oh, I'm getting in deep. If this thing fills up with water in my boots, I'm going to be... What is that? Oh, hello. What do we have here? Look at this guy. What is that? Oh, it's a little tadpole. Hello. Oh my gosh. Or salamander. What is that? Oh, wow. So cool. Look at this one. What is that? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. There's so much happening in here when you take a close look. Alright, so I got my laptop down here and I'm going to try and get some video with the microscope. And I'm going to try and do it without disturbing the eggs too much. I'm going to have to bring them a little closer to get the video because, you know, the cord isn't that long. But we're going to give it a try. So I'm going to start recording on the microscope. Alright, well I'm just going to show you real quick up here. I think I can put it back intact. Here's this guy. See that? Cool, right? So I hope you guys know you do not need to be near this vernal pool or even a vernal pool, although I know that there are some around Beacon. I remember there's one actually up by the reservoir at the top of Mount Beacon where we once went and saw tadpoles in there. You guys have the Hudson River right next to you. You have the Fishkill Creek. There are all kinds of water bodies with lots of interesting things going on. Are you still here? Ugh, this news is like 20 minutes long, right? It's ridiculous. But I told you there was a lot to get to. Mrs. Bender, I'm not the only one with vernal pools. Mrs. Bender went back out and checked out hers.
Picking up sticks in my yard, and I come across this little creature. Happy Earth Day. Mr. Burke, you inspired me to come back out to the vernal pool across the street from my house, and I can see the eggs are still here. Nothing's hatched yet. Here are some more eggs floating among the tall grasses. Like Mr. Burke said, this is just a area where the trucks drive up and down the power lines and the tire ruts fill with water and they become like a vernal pool. I am at the very limit of my rubber boots.
And last but not least, we have a special treat from the front office staff. Have a great day, South Avenue.